This is IMT News.
देखती आंखों सुनते कानों आपको रशंदा जाहिद का सलाम। आप देख रहे हैं IMT न्यूज फ्रॉम लंदन। मुख्तार पानीवाला एक मेहनती, हमदर्द और खिदमत खल्क के जज्बे से सरशार शख्सियत हैं। अपनी जिंदगी के तजर्बात और जद्दोजहद के जरिए उन्होंने ये साबित किया कि अगर नीयत नेक हो तो हर मुश्किल आसान हो जाती है। वो बरसों से माजूर अफराद की खिदमत में मसरूफ अमल हैं और इनके मसाइल को समझकर इनके हुकूक के लिए जद्दोजहद कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने मुख्तलिफ फलाही इदारों और समाजी तंजीमों के साथ मिलकर दर्जनों ऐसे मंसूबे मुकम्मल किए जो माजूर अफराद की जिंदगी में आसानी लाएं। इनकी रहनुमाई में दर्जनों लोगों को व्हील चेयर, आले समात, छड़ी, माली मदद और मुख्तलिफ तरबियती मौके फराहम किए गए हैं। मुख्तार पानीवाला की जिंदगी एक मिसाल है कि किसी भी कम्युनिटी की खिदमत दिल से की जाए तो तब्दीली जरूर आती है। उन्हें न सिर्फ यूनिवर्सल मेमन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बल्कि पूरी मेमन कम्युनिटी फख्र से देखती है। मुख्तार पानीवाला की मुतासिर कुन सवाने उम्री कई अकसाद पर मुश्तमिल है। देखते रहिए और हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए।
आइए देखते हैं पार्ट 7।
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, a conversation about hidden jealousy, inspiring envy, and a story that genuinely made me stop and think. Let's set the stage. Picture this. You walk into a room and everyone seems friendly, but there's something you can't quite put your finger on. Maybe it's a vibe, a glance, or just a sense that not everyone is happy for you. We're talking about hidden jealousy, the kind that doesn't show up in the form of attitude or harsh words, but quietly lingers in the background. What's interesting about hidden jealousy is how subtle it is. It's not the dramatic soap opera jealousy you see on TV. No one's slamming doors or making accusations. Instead, it's often tucked away behind smiles and polite conversation. Imagine someone seeing your success and feeling that pinch of envy, but instead of letting it show, they swallow it. A sort of silent competition that you never agreed to join. And here's the thing, we don't always notice when this is happening. Sometimes even the people feeling it don't realize it. It's a sneaky kind of emotion. It can quietly erode trust or create an invisible distance in relationships. You might not even pinpoint why a friendship starts to feel off, or why a group doesn't feel as close as it used to. That's the consequence of unspoken, undetectable jealousy, real damage that accumulates slowly. But let's pause for a second, because sometimes jealousy doesn't have to be all bad. There's another side to it, envy that inspires instead of undermines. Now, envy is a word that doesn't always get positive press, right? We're taught to avoid it, or pretend we don't feel it at all. But what if I told you that a little dose of envy, when used right, could actually be good for us? That it could drive healthy competition, push us to improve, or motivate us to take on a new challenge. Let's call this inspiring envy. Someone else's success gives you that nudge, that tiny drop of, I want that too, which then lights a fire under you. It's not about wishing they didn't have it. Instead, it's like, wow, if they can do that, maybe I can too. It's energizing. Here's an example. Maybe you see a colleague getting a promotion you wanted. Sure, you feel jealous at first, but what do you do with that? Do you sulk and withdraw, or do you let it motivate you to sharpen your skills, build new connections, and work on your own goals? That's the healthy version of envy, the one that fuels growth, not grudges. But, and this is really important, not all envy leads to inspiration. Sometimes it can turn bitter and corrosive. The difference is all about what we do with those feelings. If we use envy to compare ourselves harshly or to wish ill on someone else, it can corrode not just our happiness, but also our relationships and sense of self-worth. So it's up to us. Do we let envy highlight what's possible and encourage us, or do we let it fester and cause harm? Now let's flip things and bring this to a real human level. I recently heard a story that perfectly captures how inspiring envy and perspective can shape not just individuals, but entire communities. This story starts about 40 years ago. Imagine meeting the principal of a local school for the blind. You arrive expecting a conversation about challenges and difficulties, but instead, you're met with wisdom that sticks with you for a lifetime. The principal explained that living with blindness wasn't something you just learned about in a classroom or from a book. He said, you will learn this during the training. Simple as that. It's one of those comments that seems ordinary, but the more you think about it, the deeper it gets. It's a truth about life, right? Some lessons can't be taught by words alone. They have to be lived, felt, experienced. Real growth, real empathy, real understanding. They arrive through the journey itself, not just in preparation for it. Now, fast forward to today. The person who carried that message for 40 years is now leading the disabled wing of a universal organization, creating opportunities for others and advocating for positive change. That early piece of advice, received in a moment of uncertainty, became a North Star. What strikes me here is the ripple effect. One conversation, one piece of encouragement, even just a single sentence can echo through decades and affect not only us, but everyone we meet along the way. Think about that for a second. How the things people say or do can plant seeds that grow, sometimes unseen, into movements and communities that help thousands. It's humbling, really. With leadership comes the responsibility to reflect the right kind of inspiration. When leaders take challenges like blindness or disability, or even just personal setbacks, and use them as motivation to push for betterment, it lifts up everyone around them. That's what sets inspiring envy apart from destructive jealousy. It asks, how can I use what I've learned to help others rise? Instead of guarding success or comparing, it means creating paths so that others can find inspiration and opportunities too. Family, friends, community, all benefiting from the growth of one. It's not always easy. Turning envy into inspiration or pain into progress can feel unnatural at first. We're wired to compare ourselves, to notice what we're missing, to wonder why luck or opportunity knocks elsewhere first. But every time we take that energy and use it for something greater, every time we say, if you can, maybe I can too, that's a tiny revolution against the negativity that holds us back. So if you're in a position to lead or mentor or just encourage someone, remember how far a single moment of support can go. Sometimes people don't need solutions. They need to know that learning is a process, that difficulty is part of the journey, and that inspiration can be found anywhere, even in unlikely places. The journey from feeling envy to acting on inspiration is one of the silent engines of personal and community growth. It can turn setbacks into building blocks, and challenges into achievements that matter not just for one person, but for everyone who comes after. What I find so moving about this story is its quiet strength. It isn't flashy. No one's handing out medals or headline news. But looking back over 40 years, the real rewards become clear: resilience, connection, and a deep commitment to helping others thrive. And that, to me, is one of the most uplifting parts of the human experience. We all have these moments, big or small, where jealousy or envy pops up. We get to choose what comes next. We can let it pull us down or use it as fuel to become kinder, more resilient, more inspiring people. Hidden jealousy will always exist in some form, but inspiring envy, when we cultivate it and share it, can be a real force for good, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. So that's what I wanted to share today. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I hope this story and the ideas in it give you a little nudge, maybe even a bit of that inspiring envy, to look for ways to turn everyday emotions into something that uplifts not just you, but your whole world. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.
Rakshinda Zahid, IMT News, London.